Greetings and welcome back. We are going to answer question number 4. The sitting is August 2022. The subject is boardroom dynamics. Question 4A reads, making decisions can be difficult. With reference to this statement, assess the RAP model for decision making. Assess the RAP model for decision making. Decision making can be difficult. Part A, assess the RAP. Assess the RAP model for decision making. It's an acronym. RAP, W-R-A-P, 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 RAP. Now, the RAP model is a decision-making framework that stands for widen the options, W, widen the options, W stands for widen the options, R, reality test assumptions, R stands for reality test assumptions. Then A stands for attain distance before deciding. Attain distance before deciding. A stands for attain distance before doing what? Before deciding. Attain distance before deciding. P stands for prepare to be wrong. Prepare to be wrong. Prepare to be wrong. So this is the RAP model. Widen the options, reality test assumptions. A stands for attain distance before deciding. Now, what do we mean by widen the options? Widen the options. We are discussing a decision-making model known as RAP. And the first step is to widen the options. This step encourages, the step in widening the options encourages decision makers to explore a broad range of possible options as well as solutions before settling on a decision. If you have a problem, you ought to put down different possible solutions to the problem. You widen the options or the solutions, possible options or solutions. You get a wider range to this problem. Before doing what? Before settling on a decision. And by considering diverse alternatives, decision makers can avoid premature judgments and narrow thinking, leading to a more innovative and effective decisions. Widen the options. Widen the options. Widening the what? The options. Get a wider range. Explore broad range of possible options. Explore broad range of possible options before deciding or settling on a decision. Then there is reality test assumptions. Reality test assumptions involves critically examining the assumptions underlying the potential decisions. examining critically the assumptions underlying the possible options. After putting down the options, then look at the underlying assumptions critically. Critically examining assumptions critically. Critically examine options underlying possible assumptions underlying possible options. Then 3, test distance before deciding. Attain distance, not test, but attain distance before deciding. Deciding. Attain distance before deciding. These steps advocates for decision makers to take a step back and gain perspective before making a final choice. Why? Because emotional or impulsive decisions can be detrimental. So taking time to reflect and gain distance from the situation can lead to a more thoughtful and rational decisions. Take a step back. This means taking a step back. Take a step back. Take a step back and gain perspective. And gain perspective. Before making a decision. Then prepare to be wrong. Prepare to be wrong. Prepare to be wrong. Prepare to be wrong. Now, preparing to be wrong means being open to possibility of making mistakes. Being open to possibility of making mistakes. Why? Because the decision maker has to recognize that no decision is foolproof. And this step emphasizes being open to the possibility of making mistakes and learning from the mistakes. It encourages a growth mindset where mistakes can be seen as opportunities for improvement rather than failures. So that is the RAP model, the RAP model. And candidates, this model, I can say that it provides a structured approach to decision making. It promotes critical thinking and reduces the likelihood of biases and hasty judgments. And by incorporating all these elements, decision makers can enhance the quality of their decisions. So that is a brief assessment of the RAP model, where W stands for widen the options, R stands for reality test assumptions, A stands for attain distance before deciding, and P stands for prepare to be wrong. This is the assessment of the RAP model. How many marks? These are just 4 marks. 4 marks. Moving on to part B, emotional intelligence is critical in stakeholder management. Appraise 5 key elements in emotional intelligence. Key elements in emotional intelligence. B, key elements in emotional intelligence. Key elements in emotional intelligence. Key elements of emotional intelligence. We've read that emotional intelligence is critical in stakeholder management. What are the 5 key elements in emotional intelligence? That is the question. The first key element is self-awareness. Self-awareness. Understanding one's emotions, strengths, understanding one's weaknesses, understanding one's triggers is essential in stakeholder management. That's what we mean by self-awareness. Being aware or understanding your emotions, understanding your strengths so that you don't overrate yourself, right? You also need to understand what are your weaknesses, what are your triggers. When you have that self-awareness, then you will be able to manage stakeholders effectively. Self-awareness allows individuals to regulate their emotions, to regulate their responses effectively. So that's the first key element in emotional intelligence. That is self-awareness. The second element is known as empathy. Empathy. Empathy involves recognizing and understanding the emotions, the needs, and perspectives of stakeholders. Other than understanding your own emotions, you ought also to be able to empathize. You should be able to put yourself in the shoes of stakeholders. It enables stakeholders to feel heard and valued, fostering positive relationships. Where a manager has empathy when dealing with stakeholders, then the stakeholders will feel that they are understood. The stakeholders will feel valued, and that will foster positive relationships. The third key element is social skills. Social skills. Social skills is a key element in emotional intelligence. Strong social skills enable individuals to communicate effectively. It enables individuals to build rapport and handle interpersonal interactions with stakeholders. And such skills facilitate constructive dialogue and conflict resolution. Social skills. How many elements? 5. Number 4, self-regulation. Self-regulation is a key element in emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence includes the ability to manage and regulate one's emotions. It's not enough to just be aware of your emotions. It's important to also be able to regulate your emotions. Why? Because self-regulation prevents emotional outbursts and allows the stakeholders to approach situations with high level-headed and composed demeanor. So as a manager, as a board member, you ought to be able to self-regulate. Regulate your emotions, regulate your moods, and so on, so that you don't have emotional outbursts when dealing with stakeholders. 5, motivation. Motivation is a key element in emotional intelligence. Motivated individuals display a positive and enthusiastic attitude or approach, which can influence stakeholders positively. And their drive and optimism can inspire others and contribute to a productive and collaborative environment. So that is the answer to that question. With reference, emotional intelligence is critical in stakeholder management. So all the answers have been relating them to stakeholder management. And I can say that emotional intelligence is vital in stakeholder management. Why? Because it helps build trust, it helps manage conflicts, it fosters positive relationships, and ultimately leading to successful collaboration and project outcomes. So these are 5 key elements in emotional intelligence. 1, self-awareness. 2, empathy. 3, social skills. 4, self-regulation. 5, motivation. 5 key elements, 5 marks. Part C of question 4 reads, discuss organizational culture using Edgar Skein's 3 levels of culture model. Edgar Skein's, part C. Edgar Skein's 3 levels of culture model. 3 levels of culture model. Edgar Skein's 3 levels of culture model. There are 3 levels. According to Edgar, 3 levels. Candidates were to discuss the 3 levels to earn the 6 marks. Now, the first level, and by the way, the Edgar Skein's level, 3 levels of, the 3 levels of culture model describes organizational culture at 3 levels. It describes organizational culture at 3 levels. The first level is that of artifacts. Artifacts and behaviors. The first level is known as artifacts and behaviors. This is the visible level of culture. It is the visible, that which we can see with the eyes. Okay, the tangible elements, such as the dress code. We can tell the culture of an organization by looking at the dress code of employees. We can look at other features like the office layouts, the physical layout of the office. The company may also have things like symbols, rituals, behaviors, and so on. This is the physical aspect, the visible level of culture that includes the tangible elements like dress codes, office layout, symbols, rituals, behaviors, and so on. The second level is what we call espoused values. Espoused values. The second level, which is known as espoused values, represents the beliefs. This one represents beliefs, represents the values, represents the beliefs, represents the values, the norms, okay? The beliefs, the values, the norms that are explicitly stated and communicated. That are done what? That are explicitly stated and communicated by the organization. And these are the values that guide decision making, they guide behavior, and are often articulated in the organization's mission and vision statements. You'll have, if you visited some organization, you must have seen them having core values displayed at the reception, the espoused values. This is the second level of culture model according to Edgar Skins. The third level is known as basic assumptions. Basic assumptions. This is the deepest level of culture. It's the deepest level. Is the deepest level of culture. This is the deepest level. This one we saw, the physical one, visible. This is the deepest level of culture, which consists of the unconscious, the taken for granted beliefs, the unconscious taken for granted beliefs, the unconscious, the untaken for granted beliefs and assumptions that are shared by members of the organization. Assumptions, they comprise of assumptions shared, the shared assumptions. And these assumptions, candidates, shape how individuals perceive reality, they shape how individuals interact, and they shape how individuals interpret situations. So these are the three levels of culture, according to Edgar. And Edgar, candidates, suggests that the deeper the level, the more challenging it is to change culture. The deeper the level. If it is at this level, then it is easier to change. It is easy to change the dress code. But it's not easy to change the assumptions that are shared by the members of the organization. So leaders seeking to shape organization culture must address all the three levels, aligning artifacts and behaviors with espoused values and reinforcing the desired basic assumptions. So these are the three levels: artifacts and behaviors, number one; number two, espoused values; number three, basic assumptions. These are three levels, 6 marks. 3 levels, 6 marks. We have answered question 4. In our next session, we are going to answer question 5. Thank you and bye-bye.